welcome back to Ball with Y'all, the Monday edition of our show this week. We are so excited to be coming off of a wild weekend in the NASCAR sports world, and of course also a wild weekend for week 0 of the college football season, and just a few days away from week 1 of the college football season, and a lot to unpack there. We are so thankful that you chose to join us, whether that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, or Breaker. Wherever you're tuning in from, we're so glad you chose to spend just a little bit of your day here with us. Without further ado, let's get into our opening segment. Let's crack it open. So, Zach, we got to watch some of Week 0 this past weekend. We'll get into why we watched some of it a little bit later, but got to watch some of it. A number of games, not necessarily the most high-profile games, if you will. We did have Nebraska Northwestern, right? We did have FAU Charlotte. We had the mighty Duquesne Dukes facing off against the Florida State Seminoles.
Yes, we did. And also, we had our great friends out in Hawaii playing some SEC football late into the evening.
Yeah.
Which was a great way to cap off our first weekend night of college football.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to actual college football starting this weekend. However, we had football, and it didn't suck.
No.
And it was enjoyable, and I had fun scoreboard watching in the parking lot at Daytona.
Yeah, in the Cracker Barrel parking lot. It was great. But again, more into that in a bit. So, Zach, you mentioned it, Nebraska and Northwestern, right? Big moment up in Ireland. Game day was there, and the game really did not disappoint. I would say the Cornhuskers did, though.
What's new? You wrote it on the show sheet here, but Nebraska goes full Nebraska.
Yeah.
Absolutely nailed it. Getting ahead by 2 scores and then immediately deciding to go for an onside kick to win the game with 25 minutes left, pretty stupid.
Less than ideal.
That's a certified Scott Frost moment. Scott Frost, Nebraska, mind you, not Scott Frost, UCF. No. That works at UCF.
It did.
If Scott Frost is the coach there. Yeah, disappointing. As someone who kind of was looking at Nebraska, I was like, that could be a top 2 or 3 Big Ten West team this year. They are starting immediately where they've left off. They can't win close games, and Scott Frost continually chokes and chokes and chokes.
And to look at his record since he became the Nebraska head coach, I think it's, 15-30?
Yep.
And compare that to his predecessor, Bo Pelini, who was fired after going 67-27 at Nebraska.
Correct.
And I know different standards, right? But we went from Nebraska routinely winning 8 to 9 games a year, going to a bowl game, usually winning that bowl game, to now losing to Northwestern of all teams, and losing. I mean, how many one-score games have they lost? It's got to be upwards of 15, 20 at this point.
I think the number is 10, including last year and today, or I'm sorry, this weekend.
Yeah.
So it blows my mind. I mean, Nebraska plays with everybody; they just can't beat anybody either. That seems to be the problem. I mean, until they start actually losing by a lot, I still am set on the fact that they're going to be winning games, but they can't. Scott Frost cannot get this team over the finish line. He gets them in positions to win. Casey Thompson, tremendous game the other night, plays his tail off, and they can't score after they do an onside kick. Nebraska goes 14-0 the rest of the game, wins by 3, and walks into the Big Ten with a 1-0 start. Nebraska sits at the bottom of the basement against a Northwestern team, mind you, that probably should have been one of the easiest wins for Nebraska all season in conference play.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I know we talked about a little bit in the pre-show conversation. If you are Alabama, if you're Clemson, if you're Ohio State, you can afford to take that risk and to try to go for the death blow.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know you're going to be able to score and continue to keep that momentum. Even if you lose a little bit of it, you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to do that if you're Nebraska.
No.
You can't afford to take that risk.
No. Get to the finish line. Win that game. Finish that game off. Go straight into your bye week in week 0, or week 1, I'm sorry, and roll into the rest of the season. That was a conference win that Nebraska hasn't had many of in the last 2 or 3 years since Scott Frost is being there. And they simply onside themselves out of winning that game.
Yeah. And it took us by surprise, so I guess that was the goal.
Yeah, hey. Took everybody but apparently Northwestern by surprise because they were more than ready for it. And they walked right in and scored and took care of the rest of the game.
And the rest was history.
That's right.
So that was a great way to start week 0. To your point, we did end week 0 with a pretty fun game for SEC fans.
Yes.
With the mighty Vanderbilt Commodores winning Week 0, it seemed. Going down there to Hawaii, and 9-hour time difference? What's the time?
I think it's 6 hours.
6 hours, okay.
They went down there and over there.
Yeah.
That is west.
Sounds right. And just boat raced Hawaii.
Yeah. And we'll get into this in a minute, but as someone who thought, Hawaii's going to give them a pretty good game, I was shocked. And Clark Lee's prediction, like we talked about a few weeks ago, about there's no reason why Vanderbilt can't be great. They're starting off great this year, and I can't wait to overhype them to the point where I think they're going to go 6-6 and make a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
But my goodness, did they start this season off the right way against Hawaii, who's not a bad team at all.
No. Well, and first season opening win since 2018.
Yep.
And honestly, again, same team that struggled last year against Colorado State and a number of other programs. Was it UConn as well? They barely beat them. It's a massive step in the right direction for the Vanderbilt Commodores. And I'm gonna sound a little crazy here, right? I know we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show. I am going to venture to say that Vanderbilt, just based on yesterday's performance, could finish at least top 5 in the SEC East.
Well, a pig could fly too, but it won't.
I think they could, based on yesterday's performance, they could do what they'll finish better than Missouri.
Oh man,
I don't know about South Carolina. I don't know about Florida. Oh.
Let's remember, just besides let's not look too far ahead with Vanderbilt. Let's remember where they started last year too, losing by 2+ scores to East Tennessee State, an FCS level school at home, by the way, and proceeded to win one game the rest of the year. So Clark Lee, great job over the summer. Whatever you did, you got it figured out a little bit better, and at least they're going to have some kind of momentum going, which is that program's biggest problem at this point is there's nothing to build off of. You finally have a stepping stone to get you into the next week, to get you into the rest of the season. They're going to have another game against Elon this week coming up. That should obviously be a winnable game. Yeah. And if Vanderbilt starts the season 2-0, the season was a success.
And then the next big game, of course, is week 3 when they face against the Wake Forest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that will be a massive game.
Yeah. If Vanderbilt hangs with Wake Forest, a top 25 program with a stud quarterback, don't really see why we can't start to look at them as, okay, they're building something there. At this point, I'm not ready to jump on the bandwagon yet like you. I'm still riding.
Fully on it.
Oh, yeah. No, you're on it. Like, the horses
I'm driving it.
The horses are gone. It's just you pulling it. I can't get into it yet, but I am at least more interested to see what Vanderbilt ends up doing the rest of the season than I was 2 nights ago.
So, ballparking the number based on yesterday's performance, what do you think the line will be for Wake Forest Vanderbilt?
I'd say Wake Forest 11.5.
Okay, that's a massive win.
I think so too. Give me that.
Yeah. And speaking of actual lines, I think that's a great lead into a new segment that we're introducing now and for the rest of the season. That will focus on our friends in Hawaii.
Yeah, I think so too.
It gives us a reason to stay up till 1 in the morning on Saturday.
Or 3.
Or 3 in the morning. Yeah, it's going to be a long season, to say the least. Let's get into our next segment that we are calling the Hawaii Rainbow. Wow, one more time. It's hard to say. It's a tongue twister.
It is.
All right, one
Ready?
more time. Yep.
1, 2, 3.
The Hawaii Rainbow Wager Warriors.
Boom! Crushed it.
So, context as to what this is all about, right? Like I said, if you're a college football degenerate like ourselves, you are watching from noon to at least midnight. Well, this is pushing us well beyond midnight.
Correct.
And we had to find a reason to be invested in Hawaii football. And so we decided, okay, you know what? We're going to make some theoretical wagers on Hawaii football games.
Why not?
And we started this past weekend.
Yes.
We each said, okay, you'll make a theoretical bet, I'll make a theoretical bet. And I chose to go with first quarter Vanderbilt 2.5, covering by leading by at least basically 3 points.
Yes.
Right? And you had Hawaii.
Not good.
No.
I had Hawaii. Well, hang on a second. Let's, like we just mentioned, to put in context where my thinking was, Vanderbilt lost at home last year to an FCS school by 2 scores to start the season. So I thought, well, hey, Vanderbilt going on the road to a Mountain West team that's on a 6-hour time difference on an island. Give me Hawaii plus 9.5. So I missed that by about, I don't know.
40 points?
Over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 44.
Ah.
I mean, Hawaii lost by 53, so Vanderbilt did cover the 9.5. Congrats to you Commodore fans.
Yep.
All three of you that listen.
And they covered the 2.5 after 1.
They did. Now, talk about that.
Okay, crazy situation. I hope that you were watching because I was shocked. So Vanderbilt was going. They were down 7-0 to start the game, and then they scored a touchdown. And then
I felt great
with about I think it was 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. Hawaii fumbles the ball. Vanderbilt returns it for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, they're covering.
Yes.
It was like a 30-yard return, too. It wasn't like it was right next to the... It was remarkable.
Yeah.
And all that to say, we're starting off well.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
Your pick hit.
Okay.
So, here's the update. Shawn, 1-0. Zach, 0-1.
Yep.
Now, we have a chance to flip that soon. But the other fun thing about this segment, too, is just the fact that we're now invested, hypothetically, into... college football, not only after dark. This isn't Pac-12 after dark. This is the bars are closed. I am begging to be able to watch the Hawaii game at the bar. As they're closing the bar, they're trying to drag me out. I gotta see Western Kentucky and Hawaii play next Saturday at midnight.
Speaking of which, Western Kentucky, they struggled against Austin Peay.
They did.
So Hawaii could have a good game there.
Well, Western opens as a 16-point favorite.
Well, I guess we'll have to think about that one.
I precisely have absolutely zero idea of where to go with that. So
I like looking at the prop bets.
Oh yeah,
I think it's good.
I agree.
Well, and I also, if you are listening out there and you want to join us in Hawaii Rainbow Wager Warriors, feel free to send us your hypothetical or real bets, whatever you do. I don't know.
Whatever you want to do. Listen, there's nothing better than realizing that your day is really honestly starting at 11:59 p.m. on a Saturday, and you're going to ride with these guys into the sunset and go and battle for a $5 prop bet. Great idea.
Yeah. I mean, and all you have to lose is your dignity, really.
Is that it's gone.
It's gone.
We already lost it. When we made this segment, it walked out.
Yeah, but we have fun music.
Oh, we do.
So that's good.
Great intro, right, guys?
More on that to come, of course. Moving on from that, I got a call the other day, and it was a voice I have not heard in a while, and you have not heard from him either in quite some time. I believe it's been almost 8 or 9 months now. Dillon from New Jersey. He said, "Listen, I want to call back in. I haven't talked to my friends in a while." And Dillon, I think he's on now. Dillon, are you there?
Hey, Ball Y'all fam. It's good old Dillon from New Jersey. Sorry I haven't called in recently, guys. I've been busy with work, gas prices, inflation, all that fun stuff. It's been causing me to work a lot more. But hey, that's another podcast for another day. But of course, first time calling this year. Go Irish, baby. Still recovering from that awful loss against the junior varsity Oklahoma State team. But, we recovered from that. New regime, Marcus Freeman at the helm. We're ready to go this year. We take on UNLV week 1. No, wait. Marshall? No, I think we're at Virginia Tech. Oh, wait. No, that's right. We take on Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio. The beautiful and majestic Columbus, Ohio. OHIO, as I like to say. Oh, boy. Guys, I know I've always been talking positive about the Irish in years past, but this year, we're in a rude awakening, in my opinion. I'm looking at a 3-loss, 4-loss season this year, and it's not going to be against, top 25 teams. We're going to be losing against the Navies, the UNLVs. I just think this year it's going to be a lot different than what we're used to. But I'm here to talk to you guys about Ohio State. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but in my opinion, I think it's going to be a blowout. Defensively, I think for the first half, we'll stack up well. We have a few guys that are going to be going to the draft next year, first round, second round players. So Marcus Freeman, he's a defensive guy. So we'll stack up well for the first half, and that's all that matters for us, Irish fans. We're a first half kind of team, you know what I'm saying? But second half wise, we're going to struggle, and that's going to be because of our offense. At QB this year, it's Tyler Buckner. For those that don't know, he's from San Diego, California. For those that aren't familiar, he's basically a glorified Ian Book, just a little bit faster, but not as smart. Offensive line, we're going to struggle. They look like me getting off the couch on a Saturday morning after a long Friday night, and our wide receivers are still developing their hands. So that's going to be a struggle. I think Irish fans, we're going to really miss Brian Kelly at the helm this year. As much as I pick on him and really don't like him and his dance moves, he's going to be missed this year. Not from a recruiting aspect, but from a personnel and a scheme aspect. I feel like with Brian Kelly, we always were prepared. We always went into a game knowing what we were getting into. And when we versed the junior varsity Oklahoma State team this year, that was a prime example. First half we were in it, and then second half we fell apart. And from a personnel perspective, we're going to really struggle against Ohio State. They're going to come out gunslinging. And like I said, I think first half we're looking at a 14-6 kind of game, Ohio State. And then second half we're looking at a blowout. I think the score is going to be around a 34-17, 34-14 kind of game. I don't see us scoring more than 2 touchdowns because Ohio State's defensive line, they're just going to power through us, and they're going to push Tyler Buckner out the pocket. They're going to force him to be a QB, and he's really not a QB. He's more of like an engineer or, a marine biologist. He's not really a QB. But again, another conversation for another day. That's my prediction, guys. Feel free to tell me your thoughts, but like I said, I think we're going to really struggle against Ohio State. I think they're a top 2 school. I think it's Bama, and then it's Ohio State, in my opinion. So feel free, tell me your thoughts on that. But I want to ask you guys, as much as I pick on Brian Kelly, I know I predicted in the past he was going to go to USC. Obviously, he's not there. He's at LSU. Go Tigers. But who do you think has more pressure this year, guys? Something to talk about. Is it Lincoln Riley or is it Brian Kelly? Who has more pressure right now to win right now? And I want to, put this out to the room for you guys. I know you guys been talking about the whole restructuring of the conference and stuff like that. Get ready for, Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. We're going to be playing our games on Peacock Network. We're going to be playing them at some weird time, 2:30, 6:30. Who knows at this point? We're going to be playing them at 11:30 a.m. Get ready, Notre Dame fans. All of our games are going to be on Peacock Network. That's my prediction moving forward. Last thing before I go, guys, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you guys are all huge University of Tennessee fans, so I've been chatting with my boy Peyton Manning, and they're working on a new nationwide commercial with country artist Brad Paisley. Brad Paisley wants to end the commercial with "Nationwide is on your side." They're still working on the lyrics and, the grand scheme of things, but Peyton Manning, he has this idea. He wants to end the commercial like this: "Tennessee is gonna suck again." I like that version better. Tell me your thoughts on that. But have a great week, guys. Take care. Love the podcast. Talk to you later. Bye.
So a lot to unpack there, Zach. He doesn't have a lot of hope for Notre Dame this year.
Nor should he. Nor should he. They're going to get absolutely decimated week 1, and I don't see them really picking up the pieces much.
Yeah, and honestly, Marcus Freeman, I don't like him at the helm. I don't think it makes sense.
I mean, listen, they're going to get blown up by OSU. Remember the last time they played OSU? Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl, they blew a 20-point lead.
Yeah.
I mean, what a way to start your tenure, too, as coach.
I thought he had it.
Who wouldn't? You're up by 20.
Yeah.
You're rolling. You're rolling. Yeah, so, no, I don't see that really going well for Notre Dame. Dillon, I'm sorry, but I appreciate your open and honest opinion about your team. I also agree that Tennessee is going to suck. I'm excited to watch that happen, and I will enjoy every single second of it.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say the same, but again, we'll get more to that later this week when we get into our season predictions. So that's a good teaser for the rest of the week.
I agree.
There we go. One question he did ask in there, I'd love to get your thoughts, Zach, as far as it relates to who has more pressure this year, Lincoln Riley or our friend Brian Kelly down at LSU.
It's Brian Kelly.
Why is that?
USC has been in the tank for the last few years. Lincoln Riley is going to be in the process of building something. They're in a transitional period for the program. They're going into the Big Ten in a few years. Riley's got that ship righted for the next foreseeable years, I think. And I also think it'll be a lot more easier for Lincoln Riley to win at USC than it will be for Brian Kelly to win at LSU.
Oh yeah.
Show me a time where Brian Kelly showed up in a big game for Notre Dame against an SEC school and won. No.
Well, okay, they did well in the Georgia game, and was it 19?
Yes.
They did okay.
They did okay.
They lost, but
they lost.
I mean, they also couldn't handle Sanford Stadium.
Right. So yeah, I don't see. Does anybody think that Brian Kelly is going to be out there winning 10 games this year at LSU? No. Can I see a situation where Lincoln Riley goes 12-0 at USC? Absolutely.
They're going to be in the Pac-12 championship, I
Oh,
have to imagine.
yeah, they're a lock. And LSU is going to have so much stuff to overcome playing teams like Alabama, A&M, Ole Miss, Auburn, Arkansas. I don't see
Florida State.
Florida State. I don't see Brian Kelly breaking off with a great start this year. Whereas I think the floor is a lot higher for Lincoln Riley, and the ceiling is also a lot higher as well. So I think Riley, you've got that stuff set up for the next few years, and it's going to be in good shape after he's done with it too. Brian Kelly, if he doesn't come out this year and win at least 9 games, that's going to be. I mean, they're not going to get rid of him or anything, but like, where do you go from there?
It's a steep hill to climb.
It is, and he's not ready for it. He's never been able to win big games unless he's at Notre Dame and they're finishing a regular season off.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dillon, we'll get into our picks for the Ohio State game in a bit, although I think we kind of just alluded to what we'll be getting to there. So we'll get into, of course, our Week 1 picks and our season predictions on the Friday show. But do appreciate you calling in. Hopefully we get to hear more of you this season. I know our listeners love hearing from Dillon from New Jersey. On to NASCAR, 1 to go.
White flag, next one is it.
So, Zach, we went up to Daytona.
We did.
And we got up there, around noon on Saturday?
I think, yeah, 11:30 noon.
Yep.
Made our great stop at our friend Bucky's in Daytona.
You have a photo with Bucky!
I have a photo with Bucky.
Is that his name, Bucky?
Yeah, I mean, I would wager. He is a beaver.
Yeah.
Bucky the Beaver.
Checks out.
Yeah.
And then we also got a photo with the statue.
We did.
So, good start to the day.
Tremendous. Great food.
Great food.
I mean, if anybody hasn't been to Bucky's, make a trip to Daytona Beach Bucky's. You will not be disappointed. I promise.
We determined that Bucky's is in 7 states, right?
I believe so.
Was it Kentucky, Carolina, Florida, Texas, Georgia,
Tennessee, Georgia,
Alabama?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, life-changing. Greatest bathrooms you'll ever see in your life, by the way.
And brisket's incredible.
Incredible. Great breakfast biscuits, tater tots. I mean, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. This is we are sponsored by Bucky's if you haven't been able to
This
tell.
is a Bucky's podcast.
But so we go from Bucky's and then we get to park right next door to the stadium or to the track, and we get all set up and we go over to the haulers, and it's raining a little bit, but it's like it's okay. It's 2:00, so it's fine. The race isn't supposed to go green for 6 hours,
Right.
And things progress throughout the day, and then come 8:00, they call it and say, actually, we're going to try this again tomorrow morning at 10:00 in the morning.
Well, I just first off want to say I appreciate NASCAR making that call at 8:00 and not 10:30, 11 after I would have been soaked through the bone. I was drenched.
Yeah.
Everyone was drenched. Our tent was leaking. The chairs were soaked. I mean, like, it was all bad. But you know what? We had a great time. We had some good friends up there with us. My beautiful girlfriend was there, Rachel. Her first time being at a race, and of course she doesn't see a lap, which is great. But also, we had a tremendous time with all of our dude friends up there. Did some good shopping, met some Chase Elliott fans, some Kyle Larson fans. And, I mean, NASCAR is great to go to, even if you don't see a lap. The fact that we had a fun day yesterday, despite the fact that we didn't see one lap on the track, 10 out of 10.
I mean, moving forward, I prefer to see a lap or two.
Right.
You know?
Well, we'll see 367 of them this weekend.
We will. More on that to come as well.
Yes.
And a few more races throughout the fall as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's we'll have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
But so while we didn't get to see the race, we in person, we did see the race on Sunday morning.
Correct.
And a lot to unpack there, as you might imagine. First off, Austin Dillon went out there, won the race. First, we thought he had it won, and then during the rain delay, and then you're like, wait, well, maybe not. And then he goes back out there and wins the race.
Yeah, and he alluded to it in his interview too. That he said it was much better to earn it this way than it would be to be given it with the rain delay. And I would agree too. I mean, listen, he was given a gift with that crash and the rain delay coming right after it, but he went out there and earned it after that. And people are going to say this is a fluke win, or silver spoon child with the trophy at the end of the day after everyone wrecks out. Ask Martin Truex if he would have liked a fluke win this year. Ask Bubba Wallace if he would have liked a fluke win this year. Yeah. Guys that are outside that couldn't find victory lane this year, that had a lot of speed, would have definitely taken one of these this year. So props to NASCAR too for finishing the race. They made what I think was a horrible mistake with the rain. I say mistake, but also it's one of those deals where it's like, I don't know what you can do really. where it starts opening up right as they're going in the corner. Even if they throw a caution 5 seconds before, those guys are still hitting the wall at least. Probably a little bit less carnage overall, but
so you don't think that NASCAR blew it?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. And I think it's going to be one of those things where everyone's going to be able to say, hey, NASCAR blew the call. It's not a New Hampshire situation where the guys were on there for a lap. It was, they're coming through the start-finish line on the front stretch. Hey, it's raining. Okay, is it raining? Yeah, it's raining. They're wrecking. I don't think they had enough time to really throw. And even if they did, I think they're still going to wreck when they get there.
It's a matter of seconds.
Yeah. I don't think, they're going to hit the rain at 155 as compared to 195. I don't know. I think that's still happening in my opinion. But props to Austin Dillon, man. Way to freaking go.
Yeah, and the other side of it is we saw so many wrecks beyond the big one at the end. So many wrecks throughout the day that took out, a lot of lead. You saw the pole sitter going out in the first 2 laps. Obviously, it wasn't due to a wreck, but due to engine trouble. Seeing Keselowski go out early. And then we thought Ryan Blaney was done for.
Oh, yeah.
After that early wreck. And somehow, not only did he survive the race, he somehow managed to keep the points. He lost the opportunity for stage points and so on. Walked into the day with a 25-point lead. And came out with just a 3-point lead, but still managed to make the playoffs.
He had a top 15.
Yeah.
6 laps down.
And what was it? His front fender was off?
Yeah, he survived today. He gave up 22 points to Truex. He could have given away up to 25. Made it work. If you're Truex, though, wow, does that hurt. You essentially got knocked out of the playoffs by getting passed by David Reagan, Cody Ware, and Landon Castle, and Noah Gragson. Yeah. Those are the guys that ended your playoff hope. And he's the guy who's 4th in regular season points. Mm-hmm. He's been the 4th most successful driver this year in terms of earning points. Yeah. And he's not going to be racing for a championship. Martin Truex is going to be 17th in points this year when it's all said and done.
And we didn't get to talk about it on last week's show because it happened after we recorded, of course. But the one thing that made all this possible, of course, was Kurt Busch pulling out.
Right.
Giving us the opportunity so that a new winner and Martin Truex / Ryan Blaney could get in.
Correct.
I would imagine you'd say it was pretty commendable what Kurt Busch did there.
He did. I think it is. I still, to this day, am kind of he couldn't have come back for Bristol, a place where he's won 6 or 7 times and guaranteed him a spot in. Here's my thing, though. Toyota missed out on a spot in the playoffs because Kurt took himself out. Truex didn't make it. There's a chance that both those guys could have ended up making it, essentially, and now neither of them are in. And, listen, as someone who's dealt with concussions before, it's tough, and Kurt Busch did probably the right thing for himself. I'm interested to see how this plays into silly season. That's the other equation of all this. But commendable thing he did, tough thing he did. But, that's man. Ryan Blaney has to be very thankful today because so many things had to happen for him. Kurt Busch had to get a concussion. Yeah. Kurt Busch then had to decide he couldn't drive.
It's been over a month.
4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks in advance they couldn't drive. And then he had to have B.J. McLeod push guys past Martin Truex at the end of the race, which is nuts.
Well, and also keep in mind, he was... I think Truex was 15 points to the good going into that rain delay?
Oh, yeah. He had it.
And then Blaney just gets lucky by the fact that so many other cars got cleared out in that last wreck. And all of a sudden, he's not lapped by nearly as many cars.
Yep.
And he gains, 15 positions?
At least, yeah. He was 6 laps down, and he was well outside the top 30. Mm-hmm. And I think he gained about 20 spots through that wreck overall.
And then, even after the wreck, you got Cole Custer going out, and he's just kind of limping around. Eric Jones getting taken out. Ty Dillon getting taken out.
Yep.
Harrison Burton getting taken out. The stars aligned for Blaney to get in.
And he's a threat.
Yeah.
He can run top 10 in almost every track. I personally, and we'll go over this later this week where we go over our NASCAR playoff predictions, but Blaney's a round of 8 potential by far. Austin Dillon, I think, made the playoffs a little bit easier today because Martin Truex would be a lot tougher to eliminate than Austin Dillon will, I think. But at the end of the day, man, he won. And people can complain about the system all they want. Everyone races under the same rules. And Martin Truex could have won multiple races this year with a better strategy, better finishing of the race. And he didn't. So you know what? Here we are.
And to your point, going into the playoffs, now, of course, we'll get into our predictions later in the week, but in your opinion, who has the most momentum going into the playoff now, coming off of this weekend?
I still think it's Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. I'll throw one other person in there, though. Logano.
Yeah.
I think Joey Logano is a Final Four driver this year.
And he finished second in points.
Yep.
Got that extra 10 bonus points.
Yep, exactly. Someone who's just downfall. Ross Chastain cannot stop the free fall. Remember we talked about it this week. Mm-hmm. He just needs a good finish. Can he finish? Nope.
Finished, what, 6th in regular season points?
Mm-hmm. 5 races ago, he was second.
Yeah.
5.
He was threatening for the lead at one point in time.
Yeah. We all thought, hey, 2-horse race, Elliott Chastain down to the regular season. Finished 6th. Again, still no top 15 since the Pocono incident.
I have to wonder what's going on through his head now. I mean, he's got to be. He's got speed every week.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he was a top 2 or 3 car at Darlington earlier this year.
Yeah,
we're going back there,
mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, if he walks into Darlington and doesn't pull a top 10 out of there, I think it's officially time. Like, okay, you may get eliminated here. Mm-hmm. As a fan, I'm extremely worried about it, but I mean, he does a lot of it to himself. It's frustrating, and he just can't seem to get out of the way of anything. It just it's everywhere.
I mean, he was involved when Truex wrecked today. It wasn't his fault per se, but he was there.
Yeah,
and it's just like another one.
Now, can I drop a little conspiracy theory on you?
I'd love to hear conspiracy.
Okay, this is back to the Larson thing. Was that Hendrick settling him down after last week? Hey, bud, I know you got the win last week, but we're pulling you out today. We're going to throw something on your motor. It's going to knock you out on lap 3.
So that he didn't even have the chance to run for
just
it.
a little punishment. Hey,
I don't. If that was, cool. That's fine. I hope Rick himself asked for that to happen.
0 chance that happened, but I love the idea. I saw one person comment on Reddit, and I was like, yeah, I guess Mr. Hendrick's balancing the budget after last week.
As he should.
Hey, yeah.
I think it was brilliant.
Well, I mean, listen, God forbid someone not know what lane to restart in,
Yeah, I mean, you use the lane that's worked the entire day. You might think it would work again. And they're also next to your teammate. It's okay. We are a week away from that. Yeah. Regular season champion, it's okay. It's fine.
Okay, yes.
Which we didn't even talk about. Chase won the regular season championship.
Deservedly so. Best car all year. Most consistent and most wins. So I think you walk into the playoffs. Elliott is, I think, the only lock for the Final Four at this point. I think there's still guys. I mean, look, we've seen this. I mean, you don't know who's going to be able to pop off a win. I mean, who knows? Suarez could go over there and knock out a win, round of 16.
Well, last year we saw Denny rattle off multiple wins when he hadn't won all year.
He hadn't won all year. And, hey, we did get 16 winners.
We did. Well, yes.
We got 16 winners. Now, not all of them are going to be in the playoffs because Kurt Busch is not. Uh-huh. But we got 16 winners. Yeah. They said it couldn't be done. It happened.
And it was done.
It literally happened.
A great NASCAR regular season.
Oh, this has been, as someone who's watched every race from 2004 on, this has been one of the most enjoyable seasons I've ever been a part of to watch. So I cannot wait for the playoffs. It's Elliott, and then I don't know who the heck is going to be racing against him.
Well, and then looking at the points for the playoffs, I mean, looking at, I think is it 6th all the way down to 16th? They're separated by like 8 points. Mm-hmm. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joey Logano, who's in second, starts with 2,025 points. Austin Dillon's only 20 points behind him. Logano has literally 18 points on the cut line going in, and that he's a 2 seed.
And just to put that in perspective, Ryan Blaney had 25 points on Martin Truex Jr. walking into today.
Yes.
And
dang near lost it. Yeah, dang near lost it. And Darlington and Bristol being in that first round is just very fun. Very fun. I'm excited. I cannot wait to get to Darlington this week.
No, it's going to be fun. And I think that is a great segue into, of course, we will be on the road to not only Darlington, but also Gainesville for the big game between the Utes and the Gators this coming, we'll be heading out on Friday. So we'll get that show up for you as well. But in that show, we will talk about what we expect to happen in the NASCAR playoffs. We'll talk about what we expect to happen in the college football season now that week 1 is finally upon us. And then also give you our expectations for the weekend ahead. But as always, want to thank you for giving us a bit of your time today. I always encourage you to check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as well. wherever you join us. As always, appreciate your time and allowing us to talk some ball with y'all.
Catch y'all Friday.